Drew said in his intro video that he graduated at the top of his class. Well, he must have been homeschooled and was the only student because he is a dumbass. What's up, everybody? It's time to talk about another day in the Big Brother 28 house, aka the pointless season, where production has set it up where nobody gets to play except for the vets. One of the few people that is also playing, that is an vet, is Yash. For me, I am so glad that Yash came from out of nowhere this season, where at first he had no real allies, and it seemed to me like he was just wandering through the game like yet another idiot. But he really is playing. And I'm not watching the episodes this season, not even Thursdays. Typically, anyone that's watched this channel in the past seasons knows that I only watch Thursday episodes. But this season, that's not even worth it to me because I'm really not invested in who's going to go home any week so far. So, yeah, I'm not going to give Paramount a view. But judging by the DR counts I've seen, Yash is getting 0 edit, which I guess should be no surprise because this is the same show that gave last year's winner a total non-edit, even though Ashley was playing the most consistently best game all season, like I was calling on this channel all season. Now, in Yash's instance, I don't think Yash is going to win. It would surprise me because there is this uphill battle against the vets, but I respect him for trying. And the problem with the newbies this season, at least for me, is I don't respect the vast majority of the players because they're not playing. And honestly, a lot of this cast, some of the vets included, I don't respect as people either. But yesterday, Yash got to work quick, pulling Mallory to plant seeds against the icons, or should I call them the not icons going forward, although I just like to call them vets. Yash said, I would be upset if I got out before the icons. You have had your time. They have not even been nominated. Mallory agreed that it was crazy. Mallory said, they are icons for a reason. We need a chance to become icons. Yash said, exactly. Mallory talking about how they had never been nominated again, saying she likes them, but this is crazy. I do think Yash gave Mallory a little bit of, more guts here to finally say again, yeah, we could actually go after the vets in this game, huh? And later, Mallory had a brief little convo with Taylor in the day where Mallory is the one that said the not icons should be the next targets. And of course, Taylor is going to agree with this because she's been the one that's been wanting this for days. That was about the only good news from yesterday. Dee and Angela had a conversation where their unchecked egos from being totally unchecked in this game for 5 weeks came out. They discussed accurately, thanks to Dee, how Lala, Yash, and Taylor are working Kamu, although Kamu's working them too. They also talked about the Boar Four, which I'm now going to call Barrett, Mallory, Drew, and Melody, and how they need to be broken up sooner rather than later. Dee said, and I quote, Melody can go to the end. Who cares about Melody? Dee also said, if somebody tells me that I will be a pawn, I will slap them. I'll be like, I'm not going to be your pawn. Pick somebody else. And if I will be your pawn, I'm coming for you. And it's not going to look good. Fucking pawn. Now, this is how people should react to being a pawn, honestly. Although, if that really is Dee's approach, it's going to be rather aggressive. Also, who is Dee going to slap, honestly? She was afraid of Wendell's baby mama when she was a side chick a couple years back. Kamu told everyone on the block, Chuck, Haley, and Barrett, that he will not use the veto, and he didn't use the veto. So the nomination stayed the same. Haley later telling Chuck that one of them will be going home this week. I mean, at least Haley is finally catching on. Kamu also pulled Drew to finally give him a little more information on last week. Kamu said he is very frustrated with the tool shed. Kamu told Drew that he got put on the block and Kamu didn't like it. Kamu then said, then it was like, it's going to be Melody to break up the showmance. Drew said, oh, I'm in a showmance? Kamu said that's how it is being talked about. Drew said he wasn't in a showmance and seemed a little surprised that they were going to break up a showmance. Kamu said, it was like if Melody is gone, Drew is not tied to Melody. Drew is working with the other side of the house because of Melody. It was never anything serious, but it was like, what about Drew? Drew is with the tool shed. I was even like, Drew named the tool shed. It was never strongly considered, or else I would have told you. I didn't want you to worry. So Kamu telling Drew some information here, downplaying the fact that he was actually a bigger target. Kamu was the latest person, though, to try and break through Drew's thick skull so that he can maybe change up his game. Spoiler alert, Kamu did not get through to Drew because Drew is too dumb. You know, Drew said in his intro video that he graduated at the top of his class. Well, he must have been homeschooled and was the only student because he is a dumbass, which we will discuss in a bit. I will say, Kamu not going like the full way here, throwing the icons or the not icons under the bus, didn't really give Drew enough information to change his game. But I don't really know if anyone could tell Drew anything to change his game at this point. Also, to what should be no surprise on this show, Drew and Barrett would like most of the rest of the minorities to be out before jury. And then Taylor yet again got compared to a past black woman on the show in a conversation with Barrett and Drew. The tall, rotting tree in the backyard, aka Barrett, asked, when is Taylor going to become an option? I feel like she is sneaky. Mind you, Taylor has been on the block twice, and this is the first time Barrett has been on the block. But Drew responded to that saying that Taylor is smart and that Taylor is giving Danielle Reyes vibes. So this season, in this house so far, Taylor has been compared to last season's winner, Ashley, the prior season's winner, Chelsea, the best to never win, Danielle Reyes. You know, any good black woman who has played this game before is being compared to Taylor, mostly by Angela, of course, who is Angela Griffin. But Taylor has nothing in common personality-wise with any of these three black women. They're just comparing her to the black women because she's black. Why isn't everyone on the cast comparing Devens to, I don't know, pick any white male winner in the history of the show? Why isn't everyone in the cast comparing Angela to any round Karen you can find at your local 7-Eleven? Like, if we're going to compare Taylor to black women, let's at least compare some of the other players to other things that accurately describe them. Which I guess this is a good transition to Karen Sr., Angela, and Karen Jr., Dee, who are now judging Taylor's every move, much like a Karen. If she talks to someone for too long, it's bad. If she isn't talking to someone, she is isolating them, and that's bad. The Karening is at an all-time high with these two. It's what Angela has been driving all season. And I would go so far as to say, though, that I think it's time to stop saying that Angela is rubbing off on Dee or influencing Dee. I think Dee is just as obsessive and as sloppy as Angela. The thing that Dee has over Angela is that Dee actually has good reads, though, for the most part, and that Dee actually has a game. Angela has zero game. There is zero method to her madness. It's just Karen madness. Angela was telling Dee about some of the kiss-ass stuff that Taylor's been doing with Kamu. Angela's saying that Taylor's even making Kamu a burger, and this made Dee want her out even more. And Kamu did enjoy that burger, I must say. But also, these two are talking about how Lala and Taylor are treating Haley badly and isolating Haley. Angela, of all people, who cussed out Haley and still isn't talking to Haley, really, and is still playing victim on the situation, is also trying to make Haley a victim, and Lala and Taylor are the villains in it all somehow. Angela is vile, and I'm letting everybody know now that if I still have the energy for this shitty season in the postseason coverage, anyone out there trying to hee-hee and ha-ha about Angela without bringing up the fact that she's a Karen is gonna feel it on videos on this channel. Lala and her no-game having ass did tell Angela that an idea was pitched to her to get the icons out before jury and that she shot it down. Lala is super trusting of Angela. The only thing Angela has in this game that's going for her is that she has a good relationship with Mallory. She has a good relationship with Lala. I think she takes her good relationship with Lala for granted, though. I just don't know how Angela's ever going to put together a game to use this to her favor, because she's had zero actual rhyme or reason to anything she's done this season. Taylor tried to help Chuck and his one brain cell with his pitches to stay this week, because Chuck was just pitching that he's a shield, and the name he's throwing out if he becomes HOH is Melody. Taylor was trying to tell him that's not good enough, but I do think Taylor quickly realized that Chuck is a lost cause, because he is a lost cause. Whoever goes home between Haley and Chuck deserves it. Kamu did to Drew yesterday what Haley or Chuck should have done, talking about how some of the icons were pushing for Drew to go home this whole time. And I hate to say one good thing about Barrett, but here we go, the one and only good thing. Barrett at least was thinking about getting to jury with a good amount of the Bore 4 and the crossovers. A smart idea in theory, though in execution it won't happen, because his vet overlords will tell him to jump far away from the Bore 4, and Barrett will jump. Barrett was also being very pathetic in a talk with Dee about how he doesn't want to be seen like Drew. Barrett saying he doesn't want to annoy people, and then he talked about how before, it's different with Drew, but it got real annoying every time we tried to talk game and he was showing up every 30 seconds. He doesn't want to be like that with the vets. He doesn't want to get on the vets' nerves. Imagine going on this show as a supposed superfan and not competing to win. Hell, not even playing the game at all, but competing for the approval of vets. When Barrett gets off the show, he needs to go home and really find a point to his life. Because if you are going on a show and you're getting approval from these vets, even though the show's calling them icons, they are not icons. It is a slap in the face to other reality TV people to call these three icons. Even some of the most mid people from the Real World or the Challenge or even Housewives are more iconic than any of these three. The most mid housewife might be more iconic than any of these three vets. So Angela, Dee, and Devens think they are competing for Kamu. They're really trying to get Kamu in like this sort of divorce or something. They want to pull in Kamu against Lala, Taylor, and Yash. But Kamu wants Dee and Devens in an alliance with Lala and Taylor. So it kind of shows what Kamu actually wants right now, or where he stands right now, because he's trying to make this alliance happen, knowing that Dee wants to target Taylor. But Kamu also wants to be in an alliance with Taylor, whether Dee likes it or not, and kind of force Dee into an alliance where if she takes a direct shot at Taylor, it might look bad for her. Kamu's doing pretty good there. Devens is ready to target the Bore 4 soon and target Drew first. So like I said yesterday, we have kind of fallen exactly where we were before Lala's HOH, because Lala did not really use this HOH to change house dynamics enough, or to get tea, or to get people to, spill more tea and backstab. Devens wants Angela in this newly forming alliance that might not even form, but Kamu's really pushing for it. But then we got Drew, who in typical Drew fashion, in spite of even Barrett earlier in the day trying to tell Drew that getting the Bore 4 and the crossovers to jury is huge, Drew still opened his disgusting rat mouth to Devens and Dee. He confirmed that there is an alliance with Mallory and Melody and himself and Barrett to Devens, even told Devens the stupid FAP name. He then had a conversation with Dee and Barrett where he did end up telling Dee that she might be a renom for Mallory if Mallory wins an HOH. And I will say Drew tried to mostly keep it together in that conversation with Dee and Barrett, but he did still say to Dee that she might be a possible renom for Mallory, and Dee did not like that, of course. I love this, though, because anyone who stands the Bore 4 is idiotic, because they will never thrive with Barrett and Drew. So this changed Dee's mind after Karening it out with Angela for 48 hours. And wanting to target Taylor or maybe even Yash. Now Dee thinks Mallory needs to be targeted first, which works for me because Mallory just, finally started playing again yesterday, whereas Yash and Taylor have been trying to play, and I respect them trying to play. Taylor and Lala did have a bit of an anti-icons game chat with Mallory and Melody. And, Taylor was mentioning during that conversation that they need to keep Kamu in a knockout comp over the icons, which, could rub Eminem the wrong way. But honestly, Melody and Mallory have bigger things to worry about because of their men, Drew and Barrett, who always fuck up where they are concerned. Drew and Barrett ended up busting in on this anti-vets meeting, though, and Taylor was taking a shower at least, so she wasn't there, because Lala was talking still about the vets must go, even though Drew and Barrett were in the room, but she did try and tell them that this information or this talk better not get out of the room, because they're going to fucking know who did it, aka Drew or Barrett. But I still think Lala is in La La Land because her power is gone now. The veto's over. So involving the two big grody rats, I don't really think is going to help her. Dee and Angela late last night did bug the fuck out of Devens, who was trying to sleep. They were being loud, throwing chips at him, putting chips on him while he was sleeping. He ended up getting very mad and storming off out of bed. I would love for Devens to pivot from Karen Sr. and Karen Jr. I know Angela just continuously gets on his nerves. He's been mentioning again these past 2 days. I think both on a game level and a personal level. But then at the same time, he still wants to try and bring her into an alliance. I think Devens is trying, but I think right now Angela and Dee have been doing the most for over a week now, and I don't really think that's Devens' game right now. So I do want to see how Devens pivots. In his pregame interview, he did say he wanted to play different from Survivor and maybe turn on someone that he was super loyal to, because his super loyal game hasn't worked in past seasons. However, right now, people won't like this, but Kamu is currently playing the best game. Devens is holding steady too, but Devens is a not icon who got a huge head start and a superpower from production. Meanwhile, Kamu is a newbie and yet outplaying Dee and Angela this week. And at the same time, Dee, Angela, and Devens feel like they need Kamu for some reason. It's because he's going to win comps, but also like that should soon be a reason you want Kamu out of the game. But just the fact that the not icons feel like they need Kamu right now really speaks to how good of a game Kamu has played this week.